cup though. Cocaine in my nose, yeah, got rose in my cup though. Started climbing my pole, got me locked in on cup though. Cocaine in my nose, yeah, got rose in my cup though. Started climbing my pole, she got me locked in on cup though. Cocaine in my nose, yeah, got rose in my cup though. Started climbing my pole, she got me locked in on cup though. Cocaine in my nose, yeah, got rose in my cup though. Started climbing my pole, she got me locked in on cup though. Cocaine in my nose, yeah, got rose in my cup though. Started climbing my pole, she got me locked in on cup though. Cocaine in my nose, yeah, got rose in my cup though. Started climbing my pole, she got me locked in on cup though. Cocaine in my nose, yeah, got rose in my cup though. Started climbing my pole, she got me locked in on cup though.
Well, good evening, everybody. It's a pleasure to be back. George here at your service. It's PSGL. It's Wednesday night. It's Spain tonight as well. Lots on the table. Lots of battling. The title contest kicking. And Jack is only taken us 10 rounds. We're on the 11th. It's all to play for. Well, good evening, everybody. It's a pleasure to be back. George Morgan here at your service. It's PSGL. It's Wednesday night. It's Spain tonight as well. Lots on the table, lots of battling. The title contest is still alive and kicking. And Jack, it's only taken us. We're on the 11th.
Boromant goes on the inside and takes the lead on the final lap of the race. Now it's side by side between Boromant and Warner, but Boromant's got the inside.
Star here in this phenomenal race. Cameron Dowd looking to take P2 in his very first PSGL F1 PC race. Incredible to say the least. You see that Putin's still lead. 1.5 seconds. DRS is the name.
You have an invite yet?
Cocaine to my nose, there got rose in my cup though. Started climbing my pole, she got me locked in on cup though. Cocaine to my nose, there got rose in my cup though. Started climbing my pole, she got me locked in on cup though.
Well, good evening, everybody. It's a pleasure to be back. George Morgan here at your service. It's PSGL. It's Wednesday night. It's Spain tonight as well. Lots on the table, lots of battling. The title contest is still alive here. And Jack, it's only taken us 10 rounds. We're on the 11th. It's all to play for.
Boromant goes on the inside and takes the lead in the race. Now it's side by side between Boromant and Warner, but Boromant's got the inside.
Here in this phenomenal race, Cameron Dowd looking to take P2 in his very first PSGL F1 PC race. Incredible to say the least. You see that Putin's still lead. 1.5 seconds. DRS is the name.
Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, or wherever you may be. It is time for PSGL F2. My laptop wasn't plugged in, hence why you may have some lag and why my microphone wasn't working, but it should all be good now, and we are ready to go for another interesting evening of action in PSGL F2. Unfortunately, more games, not able to make it again this evening, but you can see the man who was here last week on screen. It is Timon. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. My mic's or my cam's not on stream. This for me. Oh, it is now. That is amazing. I'm doing well. Happy to be here again in F2. Of course, promotion well deserved in my opinion. No, but last week we had an absolutely incredible race, and if we have the same level of entertainment, even 50% of that, I think we will have an incredible race again. So yeah, very happy to be here again.
Yep, it should be a really interesting one. Right, let's get straight into things then, ladies and gentlemen. Let's take a look at our drivers' standings. It is Airpec on top of the standings after an interesting race in Austria. It wasn't necessarily straightforward from his perspective, but he has been leaps and bounds above some this season, and he leads the drivers' standings by 8 points over Gabriel, who did not make it in Austria. It's then Baki, who has been promoted to a main driver, who is in third spot, with Dark then in fourth. Zane in fifth, followed by Newt in sixth. Tales then in seventh, with Johan in eighth, and Macho in ninth, followed by Keke in 10th position. Covers then in 11th, with Noel in 12th, Diogo Silva in 13th, with Fede in 14th. Will Murdoch lines up in 15th, with Aetez in 16th. Mal then in 17th, Lolo Vera in 18th, Nicolope 19th, and Lewis in 20th position. It's really interesting in the standings, but we've got a really interesting evening ahead of us. Suzuka, very different type of circuit compared to Austria, Timon. What's your thoughts on it?
It's way more tricky, less easy to overtake, but it does also leave the error for margin a lot less big. One mistake in PSGL F1 and you lost 3-4 positions. One mistake today and you would still only lose one position. But mistakes are easily made, especially on a track you can push so hard. Tire strategies were all over the place, as you saw on the PC side. So I'm wondering if it's going to happen again now. Drive starting on softs, medium, hards. You can make up positions early on in the race on softs, but you can also overtake on the hards on medium tires, as you saw. So I think strategy-wise, it will be very entertaining. But in Japan, it can also rain. And if we get a raining race, I think the rules will be very diverse.
We haven't had a wet race this season yet in PSGL F2. It's something we've avoided for quite a while. We've not seen these drivers run in wet conditions, but you can see the track on your screen now, ladies and gentlemen. It is, of course, Suzuka, which was designed in 1962 by Satoru Honda. It's a 5.821 kilometer circuit, 3.617 miles with 18 corners. It is the only figure of 8 circuit on the Formula 1 calendar. But, of course, we saw last week Keke take his first win in PSGL F2 around Austria. It was a back-and-forth race. Tonight could be very different. It's a very different circuit, of course, as Suzuka one, as Timon said. It's a lot more, or we will hopefully have a lot more single file, but I say hopefully we'll have a lot more single file. No, hopefully we still do have people side by side, but we're more likely than not will have a more single file. But we saw in other leagues that Suzuka can cause a little bit of chaos, Timon.
I mean, every track in theory can cause chaos, but Suzuka in general, if you want to overtake, you need to absolutely send it. I mean, look at Senna and Prost a few years back, 1988. Something in that era. Senna absolutely sent it, and
91, you could name multiple.
Yeah, 91 as well. They both crashed, and it's been a track where the titles were decided many years ago, and unfortunately now it's not the case. In my opinion, it's a better track than Brazil and Abu Dhabi, but now it's somewhat towards the end of the season, and in the PSGL season, it's right in the middle. So no championships decided here, but of course, if you win, you can get some nice points, which will do you very nicely for the championship.
Yeah, as Timon was saying, plenty of championships being decided here, even from the first race in 1987, where Nigel Mansell suffered a heavy crash in qualifying, which ruled him out of the race, and that automatically declared his title rival Nelson Piquet champion. But we're almost getting ready to go here this evening. I think my microphone levels are messing up a little bit, so hopefully we can solve that. There we go, that might be a little bit better. But we are almost ready to go this evening, ladies and gentlemen, and when I say almost ready, well, I mean quite now, because we head to the circuit. No, we head to a black screen. There we go. We head to the circuit here in Suzuka for qualifying, and no rain. It's bone dry here.
It's a wet race. It's a wet race. Woody just said it in the chat. Of course, always the option that wet weather will mess us up here, and it seems to have happened, which immediately brings out the question, what will you do with strategy? Because Suzuka, not easy to overtake. Will you focus on more of a dry setup so you can have a good qualifying? Or will you focus on more of a wet setup so you will be a lot quicker in the race, but you still need to make those moves? And with a wet setup, you will be having more downforce. So overtaking will be more difficult in that case. There's someone who's gone out very early and he seems to be very confident on his setup, and that is VIR Skyline in the Alfa Romeo. He will be the first driver to probably set our lap time. You can see immediately he is on the brakes, just brake dragging, making sure that his tires will be all up to temperature whenever he actually sets a lap. But this makes me think that Skyline will be someone to run a dry setup, unless he's got a full or like a wet setup ready to go, but I really doubt that. So I think Skyline is one of the ones to watch for qualifying, to have a good qualifying setup, but maybe to expect to fall a little bit more back in the race.
Yeah, he's out on track very early on here in qualifying. You would expect him maybe to be one of the people who could challenge for pole. Please let me know if my microphone just sounds a little bit better, by the way, because for some reason I've been having a lot of issues with it lately, and it just loves sparking up trouble in PSGL F2. But Skyline, first man out on circuit here in qualifying around the very difficult Suzuka track. He is looking for a good result to continue his championship endeavours. Alfa Romeo, a team that have been up there in some races, but maybe not necessarily delivered the results they want. But another man we can talk about, he's not on track at the minute, but that is Baki, who's been promoted to Haas main driver ahead of Jacob Konius, who unfortunately haven't actually seen on the grid yet this season. But Baki is in the main seat. He was third in the championship as a reserve, so I think the tier coordinator felt it's probably fair that he gets a shot as a main driver, and he is. He's going to be sporting his Haas car here this evening. He was in Red Bull last season in PSGL F3, so he's going to be looking to try and improve on that. But Skyline instantly impeded here in qualifying, and that could be a penalty for the Mercedes of Keke.
Yeah, Keke going from hero to probably zero already. Last week, of course, he had an amazing race. I believe he even won it still. My memory is not great, but I believe he won it. And now this race, already getting an impeding penalty probably for next race. It will not be ideal for the Finnish driver in the Mercedes. But then we have to focus on the next driver to actually start his lap time. And that will be, I don't know if it's Tills or something else, but it is the Red Bull driver that will be starting his lap time. And on this straight is one of the straights where you'll be seeing most overtakes in the race before you've gone to the legendary Sector 1. It's absolutely incredible. Even if you do the short variant of the track, you go left and then right through in the S-curves, left again, and you're going to keep as much momentum here on the right-hand side. So we do have a lobby host leaving, which is Gophers. Let's hope we don't have to do a full restart. But now coming through Dunlop curve and then coming up towards the Deckner corners. Quick ride there, and you're going to go heavy on the brakes in the ride again under the tunnel. It's an incredible track. It's so flowy. Then coming up towards the hairpin, you want to slow it down as much as possible. Don't worry about the apex on the left hand side. You can miss it a little bit. VIR Dark's also retired, seemingly out on track, which makes me think that we are getting a restart of some sort. But we're just going to focus on the Red Bull currently. We got Tills going through Spoon right now, double left-hander. You don't want to really to step out here, and then you go fully flat out up towards 130R. You can just see it coming, and it used to be a very entertaining corner, just about flat, but in these cars, it is easy flat. One of the most recognizable moments. Are a few people going around the outside here. I believe Fernando Alonso did it, and the same goes for Kimi Raikkonen. Then coming up towards the two final corners, the Casio Triangle, and now up towards the line. Tills in the Red Bull. What lap time will he set? First lap time for him. It's an validation. Well, it did not register on my screen.
No, it's not registered on my screen either, which is...
Well, there you go.
That was very delayed. We're not getting a restart as of now. Also, I still don't know why my mic levels are shocking. Yeah, it's annoying me, but hopefully they get a little bit better as time goes on. Let's keep an eye then on the rest of the cars as they head down towards the start-finish line. There goes Johan to second, with 7/10 off Tales, which means that's a very good lap from the Brazilian, and I believe it's Tales. I was saying Tails, but then Gabriel said Tales in an interview, and I kind of just reverted since, so I think that could be right. Fede starting a lap as well, and we can see the hat of Baki. Oh, there he goes, jumps up to third, where he is in the standings, of course. Next is the Ferrari in the background of Newth, and he goes to 12th. Or he doesn't go to 12th position, he doesn't actually get a time on. There goes Keke up to 3rd position, the Finishman, a good lap there. Here comes the Williams of Airpec starting a lap. Or that's actually Gabriel, who is gone up to 5th position. Gabriel here this evening, of course, looking to challenge Airpec in the championship. 8 points separate them, with a lot of work to do.
Definitely the insides of the final 3 corners a little bit. Hit the bollard, meant that again an invalidation, so his lap will not be counting. But the next driver up towards the line, I think it is Max, OP Max coming towards the line. He gets himself up to 3rd, so it's currently the top 4 within 0.2 of a second. Gap's going to be a little bit bigger because this track is that tricky. Next up towards the line is NLR Airpack. He's a guy that's been quick for a long time this season, and there we go. I mean, I said he was quick, 0.2 clear of Tales. Yeah, it's a 26.3, a very good banker lap from him. Then we got Nicolopi. He is up next in the Alpine, but he has unfortunately invalidated. And then we just have to see who is all next up to set their lap times. It seems like Fede, but also him having an invalidation doesn't help him. And then the final man really on the lap for the first stint will be OP Knuf. Let's see what he can do. He clearly had an invalidation early on in the last lap because he was able to go again and put himself up to 5th.
Yeah, good lap there from Youth. He goes up to 5th position, the German. Not 12th, like I said earlier. We still had a few invalidations on that lap, still a few people to go. Nicolope had a second attempt, but is also invalidated in that one. Dirk also invalidating his next attempt. Skyline is getting ready to start a lap. Of course, we saw him impeded on his first attempt, as Johan has just invited me to play F1. Thanks, Johan, appreciate that. No, I believe that that's an invite for covers trying to get in, but please ignore the notification that came up on your screen. Once again, folks, I can only apologise for my mic issues. I literally have it as the loudest it can possibly go, and I'm still not even touching the yellow bar on OBS. But Skyline starts a lap. Timon, do you want to run us through it?
Skyline. Yeah, last time round, first on track, immediately impeded. Does that mean you'll be able to do 4 laps? That is the question. We only got 10 minutes left in this session, but he's currently in sector 1, just absolutely sending it through the S-curves and coming up through Dunlop right now. Let's see what his first sector split will be. It will be a 31-0, so it's a purple sector 1 if we have to believe the game itself. But then he came through the deck curves, which is probably my 2 favourite corners, I have to be honest, on Suzuka. I know it's controversial. This time he does hit the apex on the left hand side. I do believe you can actually miss it because there's a little bit of banker there, which does give you that better exit line, but I do not know what is quicker. But I do know that you do not lose a huge amount of time with it. Then through Spoon, again a double left-hander. Don't want to lose your rear on this one. If you do, you end up either in the gravel trap or getting a warning and losing a whole lot of time. And now again, coming up towards 130R sector 2 split will be here as well. It's a 10.0. Again, if we believe the game, it's a purple sector 2, which I do not think it's true. It's a good lap, but double purple would be very impressive for Skyline. Of course, being on his second run will help him a little bit with that short line towards the line. He comes up in P4. It is a 26.600.
Yeah, not a bad lap there for Skyline, who goes to 4th position, but still plenty of work to do, of course, for the Alfa Romeo. He's 3/10 off that lap from Airpec, who is up the top of this grid. Airpec with a 1:26.3. He's looking to take his 3rd win of the season, 4th podium of the season, of course. The only podium he's got where he didn't win was last time out in Austria. More people coming out on track now. The next person who is going to start a lap is going to be one of the Ferraris. It's going to be Johan, who's going to be the next man to start a lap here in the session. He's just weaving his way down towards 130R. But of course, remember, folks, it's a wet race, so they're all going to be running different setups compared to the dry running, meaning the gap might be slightly larger here in the dry, but they're trying to fit their cars up for the wet Grand Prix. We don't know if it's going to be full wets or intermediates, but certainly we will have some rain in the race, pardon me. Into the Casio Triangle comes Johan. He's going to floor it on exit and get his next lap started down towards turn number 1. Passes the Ferris wheel on the left hand side, one of 2 famous Ferris wheels around this Suzuka circuit, and you can see him heading down towards turn number 1 then, which is called first turn. Braking for the first corner, it's a flick to the right, and then turn number 2 tightens up a bit. You got to get that curb on the outside, then in towards the S's. Some drivers like to change gear and go up and down them a lot here. Some remain in 5th. You can see Johan's one of them, but he picks up the curb there, and his car looks to rotate up through turn number 7, then the Dunlop curb, and down towards Degner 1 and Degner 2 of turn number 8 and 9. Johan improving, but would have lost a little bit of time with that slide in the middle of the corner. That certainly is not going to help his case here on this lap. Down towards the hairpin, known as hairpin actually. A lot of the corners are fairly simple names around here in Suzuka. They don't make it too difficult for us commentators. Down towards then Spoon curve, you see laps thrown out the window here. You see a lot of mistakes down this Spoon curve, but the Ferrari pretty much nails the entry. Can he nail the exit here? Just runs the car out wide, and very good exit for Johan. This is a decent lap as he heads down towards the famous 130R, of course, where Fernando Alonso made his famous move on the Ferrari. Big improvement for Johan. He's improving by quite a bit here, but he needs to do it. You can see the rear tyres already degrading, and a lot of marbles on them from going offline. But here comes Johan then towards the start-finish line. Where is the Ferrari going to go across the line? it's going to be only 9th, and with a 4/10 of a second improvement. That's sort of worrying for Johan here. He would like a lot better than that, but next across the start-finish line, it's going to be Keke. Can the finishman go closer towards pole position here? He's got time in hand, and he's going to go onto the second row of the grid alongside Diogo Silva in 4th. Much better time there for Keke. Fede then next across the start-finish line for the Aston Martin team. Let's see where he can go. That's going to be the front row of the grid, and very close to pole position, the closest we've seen today. Here comes Dirk across the start-finish line. He improves to 3rd. The track is ramping up here. There's a lot of people finding time. Next is the Hasabaki across the start-finish line. On his first appearance for Haas F1, he goes to 3rd spot. Decent lap there for Baki. Diogo Silva's heading in towards the Casio triangle, braking and just flicking left and right. Gabriel goes to 4th, the man second in the championship, as Diogo Silva bails into the pit lane. It's only going to be 7th for now, but he still has time in the lap. Max van der Guest then is next to cross the start-finish line. He heads into the Casio triangle with just 2 and now 1 corner to go. Let's see where he can go across the timing beam. It's got to be 3rd on the grid. Qualifying getting a lot closer here in Suzuka.
Still with his banker lap time on pole position. But let's talk a little bit about corner names, because it is Japan. It's a country known for its difficulties. It's very advanced, and you would say that it also would have advanced corner names. But something called a first turn and a hairpin is something that we all know, and we've all seen as corner names. So when I was doing my research on that, fairly surprised. But yeah, it would be interesting to see if in the future those corner names will be changed to some Japanese legends in the sport. Of course, we now have Yuki Tsunoda, and we also got Ayumu Iwasa, who seems to be inbound to make an F1 appearance fairly soon as well. So it's all a question of when and where. Knut Miller going towards the line, he only improves with 0.5 of a second. And that seems like mainly everyone else has already finished their lap time on what they wanted to do. It was a very late break of Tallies. He decided very late that his exit on the final corner was not good enough, hit the bollard on the pit lane entry and nearly hit the pit lane entry wall, which I've been known for a long time of the guy that hit pit lane walls. So it will be interesting if he hit it, but fortunately for him, he did not. I still also do not know why VIR Dark did retire, because I'm fairly sure he didn't crash on track. So I'm very intrigued to know why he was retired.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. Not too sure why he would retire, but he obviously has, and out of the session goes Dark, and he'll be starting in 16th. Alcovers has finally recovered and is back into the session. Nicolope went 3rd for Alpine, so he's now up into the top 5 in a decent lap there for Nicolope. Newton validates his next run, so he's not going to be on a lap there. And hopefully my microphone does sound a lot better, folks. I genuinely don't know what the issue is, but please do let me know in the chat if it sounds okay, because I could not tell you what the issue is. I change absolutely no settings on it, and it's always at different levels every single week. But into the pits come Newt, and now the boring part of the session starts. Oh no, Lewis is out on track, and he is going to give us some entertainment. The AlphaTauri heading in towards the Casio Triangle. But let us know in the stream chat what you think pole position will be with 2 minutes and 30 seconds to go here in this session. Give us your target time, as Newt is out of the session. He's done. Doesn't fancy coming out again. That's disappointing for Newt. He's not got a good time in there, and he's only 12th.
So like it on the older games, used to fight against him for world records around this track, and now he is stuck in P12. But I am a commentator, so I think he's won the battle overall. Lewis, meanwhile, though, coming in through sector 1, not a lot of traffic that is really going to be blocking him. Only one more car right up ahead, but he runs into the marbles and he just spins around there. That's the lap time of Lewis gone. Fortunately for him, he spun early on in the on the lap, so he's got plenty of time to go again. He doesn't need to get stuck. He's got himself stuck. I think this is allowed in qualifying. Correct me if I'm wrong, Evan. I think he'll be fine, but that was not ideal. And he's just up ahead of this massive train that's coming. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cars, 6 cars passing him now, all lined up with each other. So it's going to be interesting to see if everyone's going to be able to actually make the line, because we only got 1 minute 20 left in the session. So it'll be very interesting to see what's all going to happen on that final lap. But everyone on Outlap's gonna just have to prepare now and see who's gonna be the first one to actually go for it. It seems like it is the Red Bull of Tellers.
It seems like it is going to be the Red Bull of Tales, who heads down towards the Casio Triangle to start the final run in qualifying. We have 14 out of 15 drivers, or sorry, apologies, we have 13 out of 14 drivers on out laps, getting ready to go, and of course Lewis has included that as well because he spun on his lap. But Tales is first to get us going. Look at the queue of cars heading through 130 or well, let's focus on the Brazilian for the time being, as he's the man who is out in front and looking to lead this group in towards the S's, up towards the Dunlop curve. Decent through there for Tales. Of course, he's very good. Oh, we did get wet conditions. I'm a liar. We had wet conditions in Silverstone. Tales was very good in the wet conditions in Silverstone as well, so he will be looking to excel in the race. And we've got a 5-place grid penalty for Nicolope for illegal blocking. That's very disappointing for him because he's in 3rd spot. That might be not necessarily true, and he might have been just handed that by the game because of what's happened, but he is out. He pulls into the pit lane, and Nicolope will play no further part in qualifying. Let's see what Tales' sector split here is. We will get it on the exit of Spoon Curve, halfway down this straight towards 130 or. Let's see what he can do. Tales needs to get around the 109 mark, 109.7. That's decent for Tales. He's currently tracking for pole position here from 8th to 1st. That would be some jump for Tales, but there's 7 drivers in front of him who are all on push laps, except Nicolope, so he's got work to do. But here comes Tales, looking to take his first pole position in PSGL. He's going to set the banker to a 126.1. Very decent lap that from Tales. Next is going to be Johan. There's someone round on their lap there. They're not going to get that completed. Diogo Silva is going to have to stick with his banker. He's in 9th. Johan improves by 0.2 of a second, but cannot improve in the session. That's not good for Johan. Airpeck then rounding through Spoon Curve. We need to keep an eye on him as well. And Fede, who's exiting the Casio Triangle. Fede doesn't improve, sets almost the exact same time. Keep an eye on Baki, and covers, crosses the line and goes 3rd. Baki then exiting the Casio Triangle. Can he take pole on his debut for Haas? No, he can't. Can the championship leader Airpeck steal it at the death? This is what champions are made of. They've got to deliver when the pressure is highest. Here comes Airpeck towards the start finish line. It's pole position for the Williams here in Suzuka. We didn't quite get it, but there is confirmation on your screen. Airpeck takes pole for the Japanese Grand Prix.
Does take pole, and I do wonder if they have taken a dry setup, because fortunately for them there will be a restart which has been confirmed because of that 5-place grid penalty by Nicolope. Of course, the illegal blocking penalties still need to be removed. It's been made more strict on this game, but you can quite clearly see who's taken wet setups and who hasn't. And it's going to be it's a nice help from this one onwards for them, because they've got a good lap, or a good qualifying standing point, and now they get wet setups as well. So I think it will be an interesting race. Everyone on wet setups, which means that overtaking will be more risky, more equal, and it will all depend on who dares to have the lowest wings to overtake, but still be quick in the rain.
Folks, we'll be back after a short commercial break. Welcome back, folks, to PSGL F2. We have a few minutes to digest what happened in qualifying, but I have it on my screen on the right hand side. It was a very wet race, so hopefully we can get that reenacted for the main Grand Prix. But a very interesting qualifying. Airpeck taking pole ahead of Tales and Max von der Guest. And of course, as Timon was saying, those who ran a dry setup were rewarded because they get a chance to load another one for the main Grand Prix.
Yeah, and of course, normally it would be that you get your tyres back as well, which will be ideal for the race strategy, etc. but it doesn't matter. It's a rain race, but we do know that rain causes tires to have extreme tire wear. I do not know the exact tire wear on Japan, but it could very well be. I don't think there's going to be a 0-stop. I think it's going to be either a 1-stop, but don't be surprised if you see a 2-stop. Because Japan's normally very tire heavy. Of course, you got sector 1, very many turns. You got quick turns. You got slow turns. You pretty much have everything if you look at just turns in general. So I think don't be surprised if it is going to be a 2-stop or a few punctures of drivers trying to risk going for a little bit longer. But let's get a little bit more clarification on the penalty because it's a little bit controversial. Skyline got blocked on his hot lap, and Nick Lope got a penalty for that. But Gunners has said if it's a penalty either way, restart. So even though the penalty might have been deserved, we're still going for a restart, and everyone's going to have the same setup or a good setup, same tires. So yeah, rules are rules, of course. You have to follow the rule book in this case. But we could have very well not had a restart. And you have to wonder what the race would have been if it was like that, because then the top two would have not had those dry setup or wet setups, and they would have been like a sitting duck in the wet. I mean, sitting duck, wet, kind of fitting.
Yeah, we like a good pun around here in PSGL F2, so that is that's fitting. Just having a look at the chat, there's a lot of compliments for timing, but people asking for confirmation on the restart. Yeah, we've got a restart, folks. That's why you can see us, and we will be heading to a restart in a few moments. But let's take a look at the championship standings then and remind you of that. It is, of course, before this race. There's been no points awarded because we've just had qualifying. It's Airpec on top in the championship ahead of his teammate Gabriel, and then Baki in third position. But Suzuka, a very interesting circuit. We can take a look at it now, folks. We've got a few minutes while the next lobby is being set up. It's a 5.821 kilometre circuit, 18 corners, the lap record belonging to Sir Lewis Hamilton in 2019. It's about 48 gear changes per lap average and a 405 metre run from pole position to turn number 1, with the longest flat out section being from Spoon Curve to the braking zone of the Casio Triangle, which is 994 metres. It's about 66% at full throttle. But another interesting result in qualifying was, of course, the retirement from Dark at the very start. He retired, and obviously we don't believe he's crashed, but if he could have crashed, he'll have to work his way up from the back.
Yeah, because I'm still confused on that, because after retirement you clearly saw his car on the minimap drive on. So I think he was thinking it was going to be a restart because of the lobby host leaving. But we truly do not know what's happened there, and I haven't seen any message on it in the Discord. So we have to see what happens. It seems like I'm getting a filter over my face, meanwhile on stream.
No, you're not. Sorry, I was trying to fix it because I just have your name typed over more, so I was trying to fix it because you could see more. You could see Conal Moore written underneath, so I was trying to fix it without anyone noticing. But you noticed somehow, so that is unfortunate for me. I was caught in the act. But we're having a look at the Discord here. I have it open now. We are almost getting ready for a new lobby. No real confirmation, just that there is a restart if you get a grid penalty, which I don't really understand, to be totally honest, especially if it's deserved. But I think what the protocol is going to be is the stewards will investigate it. The stewards will investigate after the race. I think that's the procedure there. But to run you through the starting grid, because I took a photo of it, I was ahead there. It is Airpec Tales, Max Vondergest, Covers, Baki, Fede, Nicolope, Gabriel, Dirk, Diogo Silva. That's your top 10. And we didn't really see a lot from Diogo Silva. He had good one-lap pace, it seemed, but didn't get a second or third lap in time. And do you reckon he can be quick in the race?
I mean, to be fair, everything can happen. You never really know what it's going to be like. And maybe he had an incredible dry setup. Maybe he was full on rain, so you don't really know what's happening. What I do know is happening is that Go versus Game is not very happy. He's unable to invite anyone, seemingly. So
oh, no. Unfortunately,
it will be
do
interesting when we are
see.
going back for racing. And when he's in his lobby alone, he gets an error message because he can't invite players because the game group is closed. So
Oh.
it seems like we're going to need a new lobby host, and then we need to do the whole bunch of making lobbies. So that's why I'm always in favor of staying in the lobby, so we can just all retire from the race and do it there. And Dirk's got the same issue.
Oh, this
So we
is
have two
going
people unable
swimmingly.
to. This is going to go amazingly.
If you're wondering who won that race to the lobby we were in, I stayed in it. Skyline took the win because everyone else left and he decided he was going to do a full lap. So he got a lap of practice in the rain, and honestly, I rate that. That's quite clever. He's got a practice start in and got a lap in wet conditions in case it was the same while everyone was fussing about trying to set up the next lobby. But is there never a bad? There's never a bad time for running you through some fun facts. So I'm going to read off a few that I've written down. The first, the circuit was created in 1962, where Soichiro Honda, I've probably butchered that name, decided his car should have their own test track, and Dutchman Jean Hugenhuitz got the green flag and made the iconic crossover circuit. Originally, the circuit was supposed to have 3 crossover points. So like you see, when 130 euro goes this way and the track goes under, we're supposed to have 3 of those, but they only got permission for 1 in the end. The Degner curve, which is turn 8, after you come up the hill, that's the first right-hander. It's 2 quick flicks to the right. That was named that was named after the 1962 125cc champion Ernst Degner. The German won his title for company rivals Suzuki, but after a crash saw him badly burnt, unfortunately, Honda decided we're going to name the corners after him. And yeah, that's one to get your head around. It's called Suzuka, but Honda built the circuit who didn't like Suzuki. So it's a bit of an interesting one. Ruti in the stream chat saying Keke was on a wet setup for qualifying. So yeah, you do got to feel for those who are on wet setups because their qualifying has been severely jeopardised. But look, there's nothing really we can do.
There's really nothing we can't do because I've just tried making a lobby and I can't make a lobby either. And everyone's getting the same error code, which means that we could still be here for a while. We have no clue what the issue is. I mean, the issue's been there before, but whatever fix there is, I do not have a clue. We can bring something over that I sometimes do in F4 once we get a restart, and that is let the commentator do 1 time trial lap and commentate over it whilst driving.
I'm loading into time trial.
Since I'm not the one driving, Evan, I think it would be a great idea for you to do a time trial lap.
Would you believe I'm literally loading into time trial to do that? Great minds think alike. We're going to have a few minutes here, folks, because there's a few issues. So I'm going to try and get everything set up and hopefully we don't lose our jobs. But we will do a bit of a track guide. I've loaded in now. I play on wheel. You can see my seat in the background. I play on wheel. So this could go very wrong, but let's do a hot lap then. Let's run you through the track while we wait. So first things first. That's not gone well at all. But first things first. It is of course get through the final corner. Now I'll be going slowly, but we'll be stopping at a certain point in time. And feel free to butt in at any point, by the way. But first corner, it is of course turn number 1. Now what the drivers will be looking for, and the real breaking point, is that curb there on the left hand side. We'll just back it up and give you the point. They'll be looking to clip this curve on the right hand side and then head in towards turn number 2. Now keep the car as straight as possible, hit this outside corner and then rotate the car in. When you get to about that Lenovo board on the right hand side, you're looking to accelerate out, hit this curb. Now don't touch that, see that white bit there on the left. You don't want to touch that. That's going to unsettle the car completely, and that will throw you off into one of the various grass patches. Next then, got to be careful through here, because if we saw on board, was it Johan I believe we saw on board, and we saw him touch the curb and completely unsettle the car. We've got an invite, so we will be joining the lobby soon, but we'll run through the rest of sector 1. Then when you come up through here, this will all be in about 5th gear. You got to get the car to the right hand side, turn the car in, and then hit this left hand side curve and accelerate out here, almost touching that grass on the left hand side. Accelerating around, this is the turn 8 Degner curve we were talking about, named after the great motorcycle racer Ernst Degner. Cut as much of the inside curve as you can, but once again want to avoid the white bumps there on the outside green AstroTurf, and then turn around and cut through here. and then head up towards turnabout. I reckon we can get the full lap in. Timon, if you joined the lobby, let me know if I'm the only one, but we will keep going and entertaining the viewers. Next up is the hairpin, turn 10. You turn in here at about first gear, but drivers will be short shifting up to third. Up here then, on the exit of the corner, is actually flatter than the inside. The inside is slightly banked, so you get up onto the flat bit and then accelerate out. You want to keep somewhat on the inside, but you might see some drivers drift out to keep the car as straight as possible. And then when you head round here, this is the famous spoon curve corner. You can kind of go for a move here, but we may see some incidents. You hit this yellow, or not yellow, you hit that inside curb, I should say. Drift onto the outside one. Once again, same protocol. Avoid the white curbing. Turn in there on the left-hand side. Rotate the car out with a short shift just about there. I've not done it because I'm in the complete wrong gear, but that's where the drivers will be doing it. And you accelerate down towards 130, or this is absolutely flat out. Now this might go really wrong for me because I'm on pad. No, flat out. You kind of go to this right hand side, again avoiding that curb, and then braking for the Casio triangle. Straight line, you're braking, you're downshifting to about second or third gear, rotate the car in, and then rotate it once again, bumping over that curb. Keep it on the inside, try not to spin it, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is a lap of Suzuka. Slightly Alfie butchered, but not bad at all. That is what these drivers will have to face, but they're going to be in a much worse position because they have to do it in the wet.
Yeah, I was about to say, Evan, got some bad news for you. You now need to do another lap in the wet because we got a wet race, man.
No, I don't. No.
Okay. We do seemingly have some issues to join for people still. It seemingly is getting better. Dirk said he can't join. He is now in. Going to see if Mal is able to join because he was in the train, but it seems like he will be unable to join as well. I'm sure they're setting up the lobby now. Skyline is the lobby host in this case. So it is a German. We all know how great German internet is. Is it better than Dutchies? Probably not. A little bit of an ego here. But we hope it's all well and we don't get any disconnects again. We just need to wait to see what happens. If you can actually look, put up the stream, Evan, or like the game, you can see that it is rain. That they put on rain already.
Copyright music, unfortunately.
Oh,
we will get taken off the air. You won't see me timing again.
There's going to be a consistent amount of rain for the whole race. That is all that we do know. So there's no surprises in like an Inter going to full wet or something else. So it should be, in that way, somewhat of a boring race, but we do not know the tyre wear, and tyre wear is key. You need to save, you can't go all out. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. And all we can do from this point onwards is wait.
Ruti saying he wants to see a hot lap. I would do a hot lap, but I'm a wheel player, so I never drive on pad. And also, when you're streaming to the capture card, hold on, let me just hold up my controller. The latency on the controller. So see these two triggers, they're like delayed by like 2 or 3 seconds. So when I press the throttle down, it takes 2 seconds to apply it on the game. That's why I was accelerating in the middle of spoon curve, but it obviously didn't register until the exit of the corner. So unfortunately, we can't do a hot lap. Maybe if we ever have an issue like this, I'll spend the time in setting up my sim rig and we can do a proper hot lap. But no, not today, unfortunately. Hopefully we're getting into the racing action soon. I know we haven't started this Japanese Grand Prix, but apologies, that's the wrong graphic. You can see what's coming up next in PSGL. We head to Imola, the Autodromo. Oh, hold on, let me try nail this. If I could nail this first time, I'd be rather impressed. The Autodromo Internazionale Enzo Idino Ferrari Imola is where we head for round number 7. Then we head to Spa-Francorchamps for round 8, the Jeddah Corniche Circuit for round number 9, and then it's off to Mexico City for round 10. Still 2 races yet to be announced. We're going to have a 12-round season. Timon, what are you betting is going to be the 2 season finale races?
I'm not a betting man, but I have we had Brazil yet?
Yeah, we did. Season opener.
Oh. I was going to say it would be Brazil because that's normally where the seasons end. But you'd have to do a track where you're able to overtake, and it's not going to be a Monaco. If PSGL pulls Monaco as the final race of the season,
I'd love it.
It will be so chaotic. You'll be having to see desperate moves and everyone grinding like crazy for a week in TT and qualifying. it will be the greatest thing PSGL will ever do. But no, it won't be a track like that. I don't know actually. There are many options. I would like to see like a China or something else, just purely because they're good overtaking opportunities and it really opens up the race. And you can have last lap moves, changes for the lead, which I think PSGL is smart enough to do so because of entertainment.
Yeah, I think poor George Morgan he wouldn't be around for much longer if we announced Monaco for Tier 1, but hopefully we're almost getting ready to go soon. Marlon saying we need a wet lap. You know, we probably had time to do one in hindsight, but it's a bit late now. We'd be starting a bit late, but let us know in the stream chat below or to the side on whatever device you're watching what you think the final 2 rounds of the season in PSGL are going to be, and let us know. Abu Dhabi could be a contender. Singapore is not going to be it because it's being saved for when it's updated. A lot of league owners, including this one, are saving it for until it's updated. I believe it's going to be updated. Well, we have to have the actual Singapore Grand Prix first, but I think it's going to be updated around then. They'll do a bit of marketing for that, maybe. We have 16 drivers in the lobby, meaning I'm not too sure who we're waiting for. I believe we're just waiting for one more, and they are setting up the grid. So we're getting ready to go. Once again, we'd like to take a chance to remind you of our title sponsors. You can see, pointing to the logo, GT Omega. Timon, you do have a GT Omega chair, don't you?
I do, and I'm not unhappy about it. Nice comfy chair. You can move it all you want, and I didn't spend a lot on it, so I definitely do not complain. But you are a wheel user, so do you maybe need some more racing gloves?
Oh, that's exquisite sponsor placement from Mr. Timon. Yeah, PSGL, new sponsor, Virage GG. You can check it out on the socials. But folks, we're loading into the lobby, so before we get started, we're going to take one last chance to remind you of our title sponsors, which we were just talking about. It's wet and wild here at the Suzuka circuit in Japan. Just take a look at that. I hope the grandstand members have a poncho and an umbrella because they're going to need it here in PSGL F2. It is the Japanese Grand Prix in typical monsoon style. It is a full wet race here this evening for PSGL F2, and although we are 45 minutes live, we are still yet to see the best of this evening's action. Timon, who wins the Japanese Grand Prix?
Well, that is I think Airpack does it. I have faith in Airpack, of course, the championship leader. He's got a point to prove for himself, and he's seemingly seems very promising throughout this season. But drivers are now installing a wet setup and doing their fuel margins and everything else. So it might take a little bit longer, but if I say that, it's probably going to be done in 5 seconds. But last time round, it was raining heavy like this in Japan. There was actually a hurricane or a tornado warning in the area, and I'll shut up now.
Here we go. 4, 5, red lights. And finally, we go racing here in Suzuka. Really good launch from Airpack, who gets a good jump heading down towards turn number 1. He's already ahead of Talhez. Talhez looking to tuck in behind as they head in towards the first corner. Full wet tyres being used by all. Covers up the inside. And Max von der Guest here trying to get a job done. The two outplayed racing drivers side by side. Shizu Fede in 5th is already up 1 spot getting past Baki. It is treacherous conditions out here in Suzuka. It is a dull and wet day here in Japan, and these drivers are already starting to feel the struggles here in Suzuka. My controller has force feedback, so I do apologise if you can hear that, but these drivers already not really going for many overtakes. They are just keeping it in line and trying their best to hold on here. As you can see, what a massive tank slapper from Max van der Gest. But despite the conditions, we're all safely through the first part of the lap. As look at this up the inside. Look at this, Gabriel up the inside. Oh, what a move that could be for Gabriel if the Brazilian can pull it off. Accelerates out of the corner. The Williams has got the job done, or has he? No, Backy still on the inside on the shorter line. Gabriel runs it round on the wet patch, gets some wet on his tyres, keeps them nice and cool, and gets the overtake done. What an excellent move.
Absolutely incredible move, well sent up the inside. Backy though going back at him right now up through Spoon, and he makes a mistake, but it's a better exit from Gabriel. He's now going side by side up towards 130 but no moves really happening right there. Gabriel letting him pull back up ahead, just a little bit of ERS trying to go back at it maybe right here, and he has a lot more momentum than Backy. It's the rear end of it. It all ends up going all right. And actually the first driver off already, which was VIR Skyline, who went off up in the hairpin, and it's a spinner. Nick Lopi has gone round fully in the Alpine, so it's the first real crash, and it was right in front of Keke. He now has a 1.5 second gap to close up to, but if you now look up in front, there are no real moves happening, and even down the grid it's all fairly calm. It is Diogo Silva trying to go for a move on dirt, but nothing really happening, and Knuf unable to profit from all that scrabbling around as well. So now drivers just need to really settle into an even pace and start to focus, and it seems like Max van der Geest is a lot quicker than Thales, because he is absolutely right on his arse, and Thales, he's unable to really keep up with Airpack, which gives Airpack a nice lead. But we've seen this a few seasons ago, or I distinctly remember it was USA, where Keke was in the lead and he was just constantly being caught up. Although he had a massive lead to start off with, he just kept being caught in lap after lap after lap. And eventually he just about won it, but he lost like 8-9 seconds. And it seems like Kloof also has gone round, or at least made a mistake.
Yeah, that's news falling down the order. Fede trying to move on. OP covers, and bit of contact between the two, exiting their hairpin. But the Aston Martin has got the job done, and covers is up, or down, apologies, into 5th. Fede is up to 4th. And look at this in the background. Look at Gabriel and Backy are going all out here in Suzuka. They are fighting for every position here. And I once again do apologise if you can hear my controller. For some reason, I'm getting the same feeling that the drivers have, and my controller has been vibrating since the race start for every gear change whoever we are on board with makes. So sorry about that, folks, if it's hampering your viewing of the stream, but I think it's okay. I'm holding it far enough away from my microphone. Let's look at this, into the Casio triangle. Backy half spin, catches it, stays in 7th. That could have been a monstrosity for Backy. Look at this, Gabriel trying to get the job done on both of them. Gabriel is round the tighter line, which is not ideal through that corner, throwing up a lot of spray, not able to get the job done, and diving down towards turn number 1. You just gotta compliment the skill of these drivers to keep it up here in these wet conditions. If this was real Formula 1, you more than likely would not see a red flag in this sort of conditions.
We should obviously get more racing like this IRL, but with the cars being quicker and quicker, it becomes more and more dangerous. But fortunately enough, we still have the opportunity to do so in sim racing. Of course, there are red flags. I do think they're turned off actually for league racing. I'm not too sure about that, but I would presume so. Max, though, he tried it on this on the last lap on the main straight. He actually pulled alongside the Red Bull, but did not go for the move. Is he going to go for it here? The hairpin. He is going to go for it in the hairpin. Sends it absolutely up the inside. Gives enough room left by Thales. And now who's got the better exit? It's a big snap, big tank slap from Max, and he has to settle back in behind. But that was the second attack from Max in 1 lap time. It seems like Max really has a lot more pace, and Fede behind, he also seems to not be able to really keep up as much compared to the other guys. Picks up on warning there, and Spoon and backing me on going wide in Spoon. Like I said, that's a place where you can lose it, and Clover's losing it as well, and Gabriel able to make up an easy position there. It is a lot of mistakes, a lot of drivers trying to drive on the absolute limit, but if I have to guess which next overtake would be, it would be Max right here.
Yeah, Max is looking for it in towards the Casio triangle, and they both go skating across the chicane, but Thales recovers better, and the Brazilian is into 2nd. Max went last of the late breakers, completely got it wrong, was sliding, very Charles Leclerc 2022-esque, but caught it now in 3rd, and under pressure from Fede here down towards turn number 1. But look in the background, look at this move. Dirk is trying it round the outside in towards the first corner, not going to make it stick here, or is he? Still trying to hook it round the long way, but no, that's not going to work. Backy is successfully defended, and look at this. Thales and Max van der Gest side by side in towards the S's section of this circuit. Fede trying it round the outside now. Can he maybe get it done? No, he still sticks behind and isn't going to get it done on this occasion. This is great racing from all these guys, though. This is very talented stuff, and they are working for this result. Airpec is gone up the front, 3.4 seconds. This battling here in the midfield is definitely assisting him in pulling up the gap here. But what a race this has been so far on lap 4:27. Heading up towards the turn 10 hairpin now. Is someone going to try and launch one up the inside? The closest battle is kind of Keke and Covers, pardon me. And Keke not able to run it up the inside, but the Finishman looked for it. He'll be used to sort of slippery and icy conditions coming from Finland, so you would expect him to be good in these sort of conditions, and he is. He's looking and trying to pounce on board the Haas of OP Covers, and that's Fede wide. That's Fede wide through Spoon Curve. That's Covers wide through Spoon Curve as well. And look at Keke, Mr. Opportunistic as ever. That's a brilliant move from the Austrian Grand Prix race winner, and it seems like Covers is starting to struggle a little bit. Look at Backy up the inside. Oh, the two Haas's are not going to go side by side through 130, or are they? No, they fall back into line, and Backy with a sensible decision there. Thales and Max van der Gest. Max van der Gest gets it done now in towards the Casio Triangle. A much better attempt on this occasion, and that is Max up towards second spot. He's got work to do in catching the Williams in front.
That's how you pronounce it. But he has made that move stick around the outside. More grip on the ideal racing line, braking later than Tels, who went up the inside to defend a little bit and just really put the door open on the outside. But now the question is, what is Max's pace like and how could he perform? Can he catch up to Airpack, or will he just fall back behind? Because it's easy to follow in this game, but it is hard to lead and then just drive off again. At least that is my own experience as a commentator. Fede, meanwhile, though, he seemingly found a little bit more pace because he is getting back into the train. And besides that, it's all one very big straight line of cars, unable to really go for those moves that they really want to. And Airpack, he's just laughing at all of them currently. He is absolutely chilling, controlling this race. But already in about 8 lap time, I'm expecting the first pit stops to happen. Meanwhile, Lewis again making a little bit of a mistake. Second mistake for him, dropping back 2 places. The Alpine and the Ferrari getting past him. But it's all being really controlled currently. And what surprises me is that Max is not gaining time on Airpack. But he seemed so incredibly dominant behind the Red Bull, nearly losing it again out in the exit of Spoon. He's really pushing, really trying to go for it. But Airpack's already got more ERS than him. They're just absolutely controlling the race. And Skyline's gone off in the wall exit of Spoon, and it is the first safety car. And we have to watch out, Evan. Will we be seeing some pit stops? Because if you make a pit stop now, I do believe you can run it to the end of the race.
Skyline into the wall, and his car is in multiple pieces. Heading through Spoon Curve. No pit stop from Airpack, no pit stop from Max. They all seem to be staying out here. They want to go a little bit longer in this race. Covers comes into the pit lane. So does Dirk. Obviously, Backy going to stay out if his teammate is in. Johan is in. So is Dark, Nicolope, Newt, and Lewis. The top 8 don't really fancy a pit stop here, where those below all interested in making a tyre swap. It is Airpack now. His lead is cut down, and I got to say, Max van der Geest, or Timon, you could teach me how to pronounce that one. You're Dutch.
Max van der Geest.
Max van der Geest. Yeah. Oh, that sounds a lot nicer to say, actually. But,
I think we got an issue. No.
Oh no, Skyline was the host. Okay, that's okay. Hopefully no issues now. That's a bit risky from Skyline, but hopefully no issues now. But Max van der Geest was catching Airpack. Not quickly, but substantially, potentially. And now he's back on level pegging with the Williams. So this is going to be a really interesting one to the end of this race, I feel. But remember, from Covers down, they're all on fresh, extreme wet tyres, where the rest are not. Let's take a look at the positional change. The highest gainer in this race, that's Keke. He's up 6th to 6th. Keke making moves after a poor qualifying.
I think we need to talk about the tyre strategy more. Because before the race, you saw, or like, at least once you saw a tyre graph pop up of the expected tyre life, and they expected a pit stop between lap 13 and 19, which indicates that the full wets go at least 19 laps, because otherwise the game would not recommend it. If you do the maths, 19 laps, it would be nearly enough 21 laps, you can save it, you can risk a little bit with punctures and going towards the end of the race. I think the guys from P9 to P15, I think the leaderboards will swap, and I think that will be your top runners. Because I think they'll all be able to go to the end, gain like 20, 22 seconds whenever everyone else makes a pit stop, and they'll just be laughing because they not need to make a move. They can save a little bit in those early phases whilst it's all a big train. They can just wait and make sure they don't get overtaken by people on the same tyre age as them. I think this race has fully flipped upside down. We got two strategies. It splits 50-50. And the question is now, which one is correct? But if I had to put my money on something, I would put my money on the guys from P9 downwards.
You're very brave trusting Codemasters. I'm just going to give you that. But no, I do agree. I'm not too sure why Moore didn't pit. I know some people are going to try the no-stopper, because since Legend won PSGL F1 in the Circuit of the Americas doing a no-stopper last game, there's always been someone who tries a no-stopper. So I'm surprised Moore haven't. But, well, again, we're the commentators. They might know a little bit better than us. And it is Airpec who is leading, ahead of Max, Tales in 3rd, Fede 4th, Gabriel in 5th, Keke in 6th, Baki in 7th, Diogo Silva in 8th, Covers in 9th, Dirk then in 10th. That rounds out your point scorers so far. It's Johan in 11th, with Dark in 12th, Nicola Lope in 13th, Lewis 14th, and OP Newt in 15th position. It's been a bit of an uphill struggle potentially for the German, but he is on the freshest wets in the field because he made an extra pit stop on the second lap of safety car proceedings. Let us know down below who you think is going to win this Japanese Grand Prix here this evening, because I think it's still open to a lot of interpretations. I don't think this one is decided just yet.
Making a very big brain play. I mean, he was already at the back anyways. He had to double stack with Johan, and he was at the back, so he decided to take one lap fresher full wet. And that could mean the difference between getting a puncture on the final lap and not. And we know how much one lap difference makes in the dry. And also the wet, it will still be the same case. And Kloef will now be catching up towards the end of the safety car. And I hope they've changed the safety car line for this, because otherwise it will be in the middle, just before 130 odd, that the safety car moves away, which only gives you one opportunity to go, and that's outside of the Casio triangle. So it will be interesting. I hope the safety car goes like now, or like early on, so someone can surprise. But unfortunately, once they split the second split, which is now, the safety car will be in this lap. Yeah, there we go.
Right on the cue. The safety car is in this lap. Airpec has to prepare his extreme wet tyres for this safety car race start. It's always a difficult one around Suzuka with the nature of the final corner. It's going to be even more difficult when the track is as damp as it is now. Airpec leading round through the Casio triangle. He's got to nail this and try pull that same gap that he did the first time round. We go racing once again here in Suzuka, and Airpec gets a fairly decent launch, but Max Von is here looking to try and get the move in towards turn number 1. Can he get it done? No, lifts off early and backs off. The AlphaTauri doesn't fancy this one. Here comes Gabriel trying up the inside of Fede. The Williams couldn't get the job done, and the Aston Martin is going to stay in front for the time being. In the background you can see side by side between OP Covers and Dirk. Dirk up the inside in towards turn number 3. Oh, that's an exquisite move. That's a brilliant piece of driving from OP Dirk. He's got the job done, and up towards 9th position. Opportunistic as ever from this PSGL F2 grid. Heading down towards Degner number 1 though. All well behaved, all still in this train. No moves for the time being. In towards turn number 8 and 9 now. Max 0.5 of a second separating himself and Airpec. That's nothing compared to what the gap was before. Max will know that. Look at this in the background. Gabriel going to try around the outside of Fede, or is he even going to be alongside here? Fede up the inside in towards the hairpin. Gabriel goes for the flap it road on the outside. Can he get the throttle down? Yes, he can in the wet conditions. And look at this, Fede. Keke sneaks through as well. Keke, a man on the move. He's looking to try get up past Gabriel as well. Keke stays in 5th spot, but Keke not going to stay in 5th spot. Sneaks up the inside in towards 4th. He could go for 3rd here. Tales made a mistake as well. Look at the finish with a fly here. The Austrian Grand Prix winner is setting the timing screens alight here with this quick restart lap. Can he go up the inside of the Brazilian in towards the Casio triangle. Is he going to brave it out on the brakes? He brakes later than Tales, but doesn't brake late enough. But what a lap from Keke. He's up 3 spots to 4th here on this restart. Brilliant racing from him. He's actually gone trying the long way around the outside. He's on the grass. Look at this from Keke. He's not waiting about here. Keke goes on the grass, half on wet grass, half on wet tarmac. He's trying everything to get onto the podium here in PSGL F2, but no good this time round. Now he has the Brazilian Gabriel attacking. Gabriel was alongside, but he had a bit of a slide, and he's now going to have to stay in 5th.
On a dry setup. If you saw, they were side by side and he just pulled away. Jan is running an incredibly low amount of wings in a wet setup, or he's just running a full dry setup, and I do believe it is the latter of the two, because Keke, he was just unable to make that move on the straight because he normally was able to do so. Meanwhile, Dirk and Johan already making up positions wide compared to Diogo Silva.
Keke ran wide, and he's gone wide again through to exit number 2, and all that good progress is gone. Keke makes a mistake, now runs it up the inside. He's got on the grass, into the side of the McLaren. That could have been a way higher speed incident from Keke. He did well to get that stop, to be fair to him. Johan, and look at this in the background. It's 2x2 here in wet conditions. Cover sneaks through the both of them. Backy somehow not sideways, despite picking up a rear slide there, exiting the hairpin. This is madness here in PSGL F2. These guys do not like to settle in Grand Prix. They are going out for every possible move. Dirk up to 5th position. Fede now side by side. Are they going to stay side by side through 130 or no? Dirk decides he doesn't want any of that, uses a bit of his battery and gets the job done. Is he going to try go around the outside of Gabriel now? Gabriel got a poor run through the fast left-hander. Look at this in the background. Johan with a big dive as well. We don't know where to look here in PSGL F2. It's crazy as Dirk gets the job done on Gabriel. Now is attacking Tales. Will Tales be the cork in the bottle just like he was for Keke? They're weaving all the way to the pit wall. Dirk now on the outside, heading in towards turn 2. Tales closes the door, closes the gap, and stays in 3rd position. Tales just doing enough to hold his spot for the 2nd lap in a row. Keke now in 9th spot after running almost in 3rd. He's side by side with Nicolope. Nicolope trying it around the outside. Keke leaves sufficient space on the inside. He'll have the inside line for the next corner, but then it flicks back once again, and it's going to be Nicolope's turn to have the inside line, and then we do a swap once again for turn number 7, the Dunlop curb, and Keke will have the inside line now this time round. But look up front, it's Dirk and Tales still battling. This is where it all went wrong for Keke a lap ago. Can Dirk have it much better? And there's a mistake from Tales. Tales runs wide onto the gravel, and Dirk goes through. The Red Bullman could lose more spots to his fellow Brazilian. Here comes Gabriel up the inside. Just look, a little mistake in the wet costs you a handful of positions every time round here in PSGL F2. This is insane scenes on the 10 lap of proceedings, and Tales is fighting. He's fighting his Red Bull. It's like an ice rink out there. Look at Johan up the inside. He's got 2 in the 1 because Fede was blocked by the Red Bull Honda heading through Spoon Curve. Tales down to 6th. Look in the background as well. Keke diving up the inside of Nicolope. These two are still going side by side. This is obscene. This is brilliant. Here comes Covers, looking to try and overtake Fede as the chaos resumes once again through 130. Or will there be a late dive up the inside here into the Casio triangle from Fede? There will be, but attack is the best form of defense, and Covers is trying to move as well, and it's a little bit argy-bargy, but it seems all fair as the Hassman gets the job done. Keke now dives into the pit lane. He might have picked up some damage from that. I think we can finally breathe for a moment as the chaos settles down, but it's going to kick off just as quickly.
First person to bid from the people with the older tyres who did not pit under the safety car. He went out of the traffic. He feels like he was getting held up, and he showed that when he was able to get all the way up to 3rd, and then losing all that momentum again didn't help him. Meanwhile, we did have 2 skill issues. Those with Dark and Lewis. They have both now been settled 6.5 seconds behind the rest of the train. And Knut has been unable to really make some moves. He's on the freshest tyres of them all, if we don't look at Keke. And he's unable to really make road inwards, stuck behind Diogo Silva now for the longest amount of time. And also Max, unable to keep up with the pace of Airpack, and he's got an absolutely lightning quick Dirk behind him. Meanwhile, we do just have to look for anyone else to make a move, and it is Govers in this case, up the inside of the Red Bull. Easy move, easy does it, and he gets it all done there. A little bit of a slide again on this exit, and the corner there in full wet, it is so incredibly tricky because you think you can go full throttle and usually arrest, but you really can't because then you get a tank sniper and lose so much because you have to brake or lift on the straight, and it's a constant incident. Fede and Talis have collided in each other, and they were fighting for the longest amount of time, and Fede, I wouldn't say he got sick of it, but he broke a little bit too late and took out the Red Bull there. Both losing a lot of position, but especially the Red Bull losing a lot of time. And Johan, we were going up the inside of 130R. Everything's happening at the same time. Again, you jinxed it saying that we were able to breathe because we are really unable to. And it just all happening. Gabriel now able to get a way better exit line here, coming on towards the main straight, but he's now into the pit lane. He follows Keke, his esports teammate, into the pit lane to go for an early pit stop again. They are both hoping and anticipating that the other drivers cannot make it towards the end. Airpack, meanwhile, chilling on that pace, and Dirk has got past Max. Absolutely incredible pace from Dirk, and we will be seeing Dirk overtake Airpack, I think, already on the next lap, and that's something that we really need to keep an eye out for. Just those overtakes. Meanwhile, Kloof within 0.2 of a second in the S-curves, but unable to really make a move. I don't know, he's just stuck there and he's in one of the better positions. He just needs to hope that everyone else in front of him will either pit or get a puncture, and him being able to survive on one lap all the time. But he already got Keke behind on roughly like 15 seconds. It's again going wide from Diogo Silva, very wide this time, and the Ferrari easily able to go through. Kloof finally makes that move stick.
Yep, Newt now up to 7th position and gets the job done. Up the front though, look at Dirk battling for the race lead. Airpack finally has a challenge here. Dirk with a bit of a slide heading through the flat right-hander, or well, flat and the dry right-hander, not maybe in these conditions, but Dirk has clawed in on Airpack's race lead, and these fresher tyres are definitely working. Your call, 100% correct, Timon, in terms of the strategy. Here comes Dirk. Can he tuck into the slipstream and maybe have a dive into the Casio Triangle? They're both on a high level of battery percentage, really. You can see in the steering wheel. Here comes Dirk. He's going to look for this one. He tries the outside into the Casio Triangle, but not really wide enough for that position. The McLaren, though, he's going to try and get the better exit, or is he? Oh, beautiful save from Dirk. Could have lost everything at that point. Could have lost all 16 points in this race, potentially, as we do see the race leader, Airpack, pull into the pit lane. Dirk now going to be under pressure from Max. Oh my, this is a Grand Prix. This is what racing enthusiasts around the world dream about, because this is just a splendid display of drivers in the worst conditions, pushing as quick as they can and doing everything for every point and every 1/10 of a second that is on offer here in Suzuka. It is fantastic. It is magnificent, as Murray Walker may have said back when he commentated on Suzuka in these days. But let's continue with our on-track action then. We've some in the pit lane and some just carrying round. They wanted to go longer in the race, reached about the halfway point. Here comes Covers now, tucking in behind Johan, heading in towards the hairpin. Is Covers able to try something on his outplayed racing teammate? He wasn't close enough, but he certainly looked, and if he had gone for that one, I think we might have had a Ferrari and a Haas in the gravel trap on the exit of turn 10, with a bit of front wing damage and a few angry words being shouted. But look at this, heading through the right-hander, Johan just sliding as he picks up the curve accidentally. He obviously didn't aim for that, but ran along the curb. The car went to spin round because there is simply no grip there. Covers now tucked behind the Ferrari with Nicolope behind as well. There's a move into the Casio Triangle on here for Covers. He's gaining and gaining in a straight line, using his battery. Wants to time this perfectly, so he's alongside on the exit of 130R. Look at this, Covers now slides in, gets the better run, heading through the fast left-hander. He's going to go for the outside here because he's got the Alpine behind, so he's got to be careful of that one. And they both lock up here into the corner, sliding, unbraking. It's like a drift car here around Suzuka. The Formula 1 cars, they can barely handle this standing water. There's a yellow flag behind. I believe that's for an Alfa Romeo of Dark, who's losing positions. Is Covers able to dive it at the inside of Johan? No, he just lost too much time on the exit of the Casio Triangle and heading through the long sweeping right-hander of turn 19, the last curve round here. But wow, what a race this is so far. We are just reaching the halfway point, and Covers is still on the back of Johan. It's an outplayed racing 1-2-3. They're probably wishing this was an esports tournament.
motorsports teams, look at the NLR boys, 8th, 9th and 10th, all on the freshest tyres. If we look at that, Keke with an incredible undercut, and they now need to get past the virtual intensity racing driver of Dark in this case. And we've got 3 NLR drivers very hungry to get past as soon as possible and not be held back by this Alfa Romeo. I think Keke is going to be the first one to do it, and he made an absolutely brilliant move around the outside on turn 1 against Airpack. Unfortunately, you didn't see it, Evan, but that move was absolutely brilliant. It's a very late braking there by Dark, and he's gone off. So I said it was going to be difficult for both all the NLR boys, and he's just headed it there on a tray and said, go on, you can go ahead, because I'll just go ahead and see what the grass is like. And I can tell you, the grass was still wet. Covers meanwhile trying to make a move on Johan and Opie. Yeah, they're loving it. It's a 1-2-3 currently. I would expect the outplayed the social media manager to currently make a tweet about this. Covers trying to go around the outside. That we don't want any drama, 2 Ferrari powered cars, but it seems to go all right. Covers being able to finally make that move against Johan side by side here on a tricky traction point, and the Alpine is looking behind. Let's go on board to the Alpine because he's going to try and make it 3 wide here. And it's actually not able to make that move stick, all slotting in single file again. And what seemed to be a very entertaining battle actually turned out to be a little bit more dull than we expected. Meanwhile, the train of NLR moves up towards P6, 7 and 8, and they are only 11 seconds behind the other ones.
Oh, up the inside goes to Williams. Oh, that's a brilliant move from Airpack to get the job done. Just remember, these 2 Williamses are title rivals. There's 8 points separating them at this point in the season, and they could do, or Gabriel could do, without scoring his teammate Airpack here today. So they're not going to be working together here. Keke isn't going to be working with them either, because Keke fancies his chances for some good results here in this Grand Prix, and in Grand Prix so far, he's not going to be working really with anyone other than his teammate. Let's take a look at Nicolope, trying it around the outside of Covers. Covers, we saw, get switched back, heading through the Casio triangle. He forces Nicolope almost onto the slippy grass there. Dark would be able to tell you about the slippy grass heading through the hairpin. Youth is now on the back here as well. He's looking to get up towards his outplayed racing teammates. I miss you, lads, he says. He wants to get up there and get past them. Really, he doesn't want to be with his outplayed racing teammates. He wants to be in front of them, as this is, of course, an individual league at the end of the day. Nicolope gets the run on Covers down towards 130 York. I'll hand it to Covers. He's having a good race here in what's been sort of a lacklustre season. The Dutch driver performing well in the wet here in Suzuka. Is Newt able to make a move up the inside? No, not quite. He's going to have to sit behind for the time being. The 2 Williamses are up and or past Keke. Something's happened to Keke because he's back behind Max, and Keke is down towards 9th position. Covers now into the pit lane, and he's actually hit the pit wall. I think he's going to be okay though. I think his car was in AI, but he did actually glance that left pit wall. So lucky to survive there with Covers. That's going to break up this train up the front a little bit, and that allows Keke up, back. Look at this, here comes Max, overtaking Gabriel, side by side into turn 1 for the god knows how many time, but Max is up and through and into 6th position. And it seems like we're going to settle down for a second here as there's some cars pitting, but we know well the way this Grand Prix is going. You settle for about 5 seconds and then action kicks off once again. It's end-to-end stuff. And just take a look at Dirk here in this Grand Prix. He's leading by 8.5 seconds.
Like these top 4 are going to the end. Because they're either going to have to pit this lap or they're going to risk going towards the end, spending 20 laps on those wets. It is an interesting call, but I think Knuf needs to do it, but he's losing around 2 seconds a lap compared to the guys behind him who are on 6 lap fresher tyres, which just shows how much impact it has. It covers me or picks up a penalty. One of the guys who used to be running quite fairly far up front, Dark, again, half spins in the hairpin. Covers though, he picks up a penalty. Fede before that picked up already a penalty on Lewis as well. But I think Knuf will be called fairly soon, but he should be trying to stay out. This whole train, the rest of them, I think Johan and Nicolope should pit somewhat, and Dirk should either risk to stay out or pit this lap. He's staying out, so far my predictions are somewhat correct, and I'm expecting second and third to pit, but I don't know. Everything's on the cards currently. If they all 4 get a puncture up front, I wouldn't be surprised. But if one of them stays out and wins it, I won't be surprised either.
Yeah, it's a weird one. Yellow flag in sector 3. That's an Alfa Romeo. That's Dark, who's gone off the Casio triangle. I believe it's under his own accord as he drips it out of the chicane. Proper Tokyo Drift style. Vin Diesel will be delighted to see that one, if he's a PSGL fan, which I'm absolutely sure he is, because I don't know why he wouldn't be, but anyways, moving on. Nicolope is trying to get the job done heading through the Dunlop curve, but it's not quite successful for the time being, and the Alpine is looking to overtake the Ferrari. He's now in a Ferrari, or he's the, apologies, the Ferrari are the bread in an Alpine sandwich here pretty much, because Johan is in second, Youth in fourth, and Nicolope is looking to get the job done, but they make contact, and they hit. Nicolope broke way too late, bumps Johan, and Johan now spiralling out of control, just regains control of his Ferrari heading through the corner, and somehow they all remain in the same position, but I would not be surprised in the slightest if Nicolope has picked up damage. Is he going to try it up the inside into Spoon Curve? He is, and that's rash from Nicolope. They both go off the circuit, through goes Newt. But that was a bit silly from the Alpine, just a little bit silly. I don't think the move was really on there, and Johan now falls behind. He didn't quite get the exit. I think the Ferrari is damage free, but I would not be surprised at all if the Alpine has picked up damage. And yeah, unfortunately, we've had a great showcase of racing, but that's not really what we want to see in PSGL. And you can see the front wing the front wing end plate is gone off that Alpine. There will be a trip into the pit lane for sure, as he's got to come in now, and yeah, that's Nicolope into the pit lane. Unfortunately, was not the Alpine driver's best moment in PSGL, but he's going to be in for a wing change, and hopefully he carries on and tries to get something out of this Grand Prix, because we've only had one safety car in these wet conditions. We easily could get another.
Still an OP1, 2, 3, then we got NLR4, OP5, NLR6, NLR7. The F2 is just OP versus NLR, whilst in Tier 1 you got Barnell versus PSR. Like, the mix, it's fully mixed up Epic in the S-Schools, making that move on Johan. The grip difference is absolutely insane, and Dirk's absolutely begging now for Knoof to maybe hold up that Williams a little bit, because they're wanting to go towards the end of the race, and by the rate that he is catching them, it is becoming more and more scary. Meanwhile, Max next up to go for it. Keke picking up a penalty, so it seems like he will not be winning this time round, and Max able to go for easily around the outside of Johan. Johan breaking incredibly early, a little bit weird for him to see breaking him so early. But Max making that move, able to follow Airbag right back at it again, and now it is just a question of when and where Airbag will be catching Knoof, and if he will be able to overtake him quickly, because Knoof is somewhat catching again on Dirk. I mean, 1 lap difference on tyres is still there, and it's not like there's a significant pace difference between the two of them, so they're gonna just be chilling for now. I think lap 20, or maybe even this upcoming lap, Airbag will be able to go past, and then it will be able to be a question of how quickly will Dirk's tyres fall off, and when will Airbag's tyres reach drop-off point? Because there's a drop-off point, you can clearly see that. There's a 6-lap difference, and the wets that we currently have are a lot worse compared to the 6-lap all wets that Airbag has. So when's the drop-off point, and will Airbag catch Dirk? Those are the two questions that we currently have, and we can only anticipate on it. We can only make questions, but we do not know anything for sure. What we do know is that Fede is wanting to make a move up the insides on Baku.
Yeah, Fede looking for the move on Baki. This is going to be really interesting between Dirk and Airpeck, because pace-wise, they're both very similar maybe, or so we saw earlier on this evening, but in terms of tyre advantage, it's going to be a right old scrap between those two on who has the better tyres. But first job on Airpeck's list, it's get past this man, Youth, and he's going to be fighting for this, because he wants another podium here in PSGL F2. Youth, of course, took a podium at the Losail International Circuit in Qatar. He would love to get another one here in Suzuka. It wasn't ideal proceedings in Austria. It was 14th position. But here he goes. Look at this. Airpeck round the outside. Uses the grass. My goodness me. This man fears nothing and nobody, as Newt has disconnected from the session, unfortunately. He was flabbergasted from that move from Airpeck that he's decided, no, I had enough, this guy's too good. No, the likelihood is there he disconnected beforehand and Airpeck got the job done round the outside. But Airpeck, if you're watching this back, feel free to end your clip before he left the session. But no, what a move from Airpeck. Right, the hunt is on. This is going to be a car chase pretty much. McLaren versus Williams. two teams that have battled plenty around this Suzuka circuit. 14 lap old tyres versus 7 lap old tyres. 9.1 the gap. Come back to us in 8 laps time, and let's see how this one ends. But Airpec needs to pretty much drive flawlessly to the end of this race if he wants to win it. Gabriel and Johan, one Williams got past a Ferrari heading through turn number 12, the other one gets past heading through turn number 1. A good move there, as Newt unfortunately falling down the order. Nicolope is not letting his incidents get the better of him. He's just set the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, a 1:41.6, and he is now in 13th position, and unfortunately for Newt, podium chances are gone as he disconnects from the session.
Really a big shame for the German. Seemingly on one of the better strategies that was. Unfortunately, he just got stuck way too much. Lewis, oh my days, I don't know how he is still alive. Nearly on a lap, fresh tyres, and at the biggest moment on that right-hander. It looks innocent, but it might be the most dangerous corner that there is. And he now needs to watch out that he doesn't get blue flagged. Because that will be Lewis's biggest danger. 14 lap all tyres versus 0 lap all tyres. And Knut is wanting to get another invite back, but I don't think I'm able to do so.
Oh, VSC.
Let me check.
Virtual safety car has come out for OP Covers, who is a spinning top in the turn 12 curve. He's lost his front wing. Oh, and he's almost clattered the Alpine. But Covers is in 12th position now, and he's going to fall down the order with a wing change. Dirk is into the pit lane, slides it in to the pit lane, and he obviously feels he can't make the end of this race, and he's willing to sacrifice a race win for some good points. He is into the pit lane for a fresh set of wet tyres. The chase is over, as Bradley Walsh would say. Airpec leads this Grand Prix. It's going to be between NLR Airpec and Max. We've been saying it's NLR versus OP here in PSGL F2. Well, here's the ultimate battle of it. 1.9 seconds between Airpec and Max, and let's see how this one goes. Dirk comes out in 5th position. That's still a fabulous result for Dirk if he could stay here. Dirk currently sits 21st in the driver's standings. If he could pick up 5th place points, that would be truly remarkable. We go racing once again here in Suzuka. Will that be the last time we go racing, and are we green flag to the end? We'll have to wait and see. Covers retires in the pit lane. There was no point really for him here today, as Fede gets past Baki for 6th position. It's 0.6 of a second is the gap between Airpec and Max. Max seems to have the bit between his teeth here. He seems to want to win a PSGL F2 race.
I mean, everyone wants to win a PSGL F2 race. But Lewis needs to stop doing that, because every single time he's going there and I'm on board, he nearly loses the car. Dirk, easy overtake on Johan. 0 lap all tyres. We need to watch out for him, because the hunter becomes the hunter now. The rules are swapped, and with 8 lap all tyre difference, I think Dirk will win this. You can clip this now, you can call me crazy. I think Dirk will win this, because he will have such a significant pace difference and advantage that he will be absolutely flying. Everyone will be on somewhat.
Apologies, folks. My game has just completely crashed. We'll try and get back in as quick as we possibly can.
got rose in my cup though. Started climbing my pole, she got me locked in on cup though. Cocaine in my nose, got rose in my cup though. Started climbing my pole, she got me locked in on cup though. Cocaine in my nose, got rose in my cup though. Started climbing my pole, she got me.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to PSGL F2. We've had to resort to other measures, so now you're looking at Timon's POV, because we've just had to share screen, because for some reason I can't get back in. But right, we're back here in PSGL F2. Apologies for that. This game is atrocious and awful, and all of the synonyms you can think of. But we're here back live for PSGL F2. Here comes Backy looking for it down the inside. Dirk is already up to third, and you can see Backy just running a little bit wide through here. Diogo Silva looking for the move as well around the outside, heading through the final corner. Can he get the job done through here? This is going to be sketchy if he can get it done. Down towards the first corner, trying it around the outside. The two Alpines still side by side. Are they both going to go either side of him? No, Backy will keep 7th spot here and fends off the two Alpines.
Yeah, really no move happening there, and it's a big train currently going at it, all behind Johan. Johan seemingly not having the best pace. 18-lap-old full wet. Don't be surprised if he picks up a puncture. Dark was the other person on old tire wear, and he has got a pit stop right now, so he will be away. But we need to watch out for this man, OP Dirk one, because he is about to go as quickly as possible up towards the back of something else. You were in your PlayStation menu, but it seems to be all back now. Dirk, 3-lap old tires versus Airbag on 11 and Max on 10. He is inside the technical DRS range, but we need to see he is inside 1 second, which means that you are in error range. If you make a mistake now, Dirk will be able to go past you. The Alpine has gone past the Haas meanwhile. It is all moves happening right here in this midfield, still side by side between the Red Bull and the Mercedes. Keke tried to go again for another move. I got the hiccups from this commentary session. Italis is going round, and that is his race done. It seems like you're on a little bit of a delay still, which will be absolutely amazing. But it seems it's going to be all fine, hopefully. Meanwhile, we're just having to look at the Alpine not able to go for a move. Let's go up to the front, because Max now needs to decide, will you make a move or will you stick behind Airbag? He is on the ERS, as you can see on the steering wheel. He is closing down on Airbag, but unable to go for a move right here. Closes down a little bit too late. 3 laps left to go. And I think this will all be swapping around. Let's now go back towards this train. It's all chaos there. Johan losing a lot of position. Something really happened there. Extremely poor exits for him. Then we got Diogo Silva absolutely gaining on Backy, but unable to really go for it in time. So he again has to wait there, and it's still a train of 5. Just this time, Johan at the back instead of the front. So let's see if we get that chaos again. That is in the Red Bull up into the pit lane right now. Let's see if he goes for a faster lap or if he decides to retire. He does indeed retire. Dirk, meanwhile, within 1/10 of a second, gained so much in those S-curves. He is so close and gaining so incredibly quickly. And now it is just for him to decide when he makes that move. I'm sorry for looking backwards all the time. That's just one of my things I do when commentating. Even Max there has a little bit of a slide, saves it though in time, and he doesn't lose all that much.
Max running wide. Here comes Dirk. He wants to look and get this one past his outplayed racing teammate to the outside, heading through turn number 12. He's got the job done. Dirk is up to 2nd position. This strategy call may win him the Japanese Grand Prix. What a result it would be if he could do it. Heading down through Spoon Curve now. He's got to play this carefully. He's got to play this smooth. And I do apologise if you're hearing Timon twice. I've had to plug my headphones into my controller because it was coming out through my controller speaker. Look at this. Picks him up a bit of grass. Oh! Tries to slingshot round the outside. That would have been awful if the McLaren had gone into the wall there. He's very lucky to survive. Took way too much speed heading through 130, or underestimated how bad those old tyres were on board Airpec. Here he goes. Here comes Dirk, looking for the race-winning overtake in towards turn number 1. He's just got to bide his time here and hope that he can get the job done before the end of the race. It's not looking like Max has enough in the tyres to challenge. He's just got to play it cool, just got to be uber cool here and just make sure he executes this perfectly, doesn't jeopardise his own race. As we can see here, for 6th and 7th, Keke gets the job done, but back up to the front. Dirk looking to try and just hound him down, heading through the Dunlop curve now, through the left-hander. He's going to go through there one more time in this race. He's going to be looking to be in the lead of the race for when he's doing it, in towards Degner number 1 and in towards Degner number 2. Still tucked up behind. There's going to be a move in towards the hairpin here. Shirley tries it around the outside. Here comes Dirk. This is brave. This is bravery at its maximum. Late braking. Gotta make sure his car doesn't go off. Tries it around the outside. We know traction can be better there. He out-tractions to Williams and leads the Japanese Grand Prix. What an overtake from Dirk. He's just got to manage the rest of this race then. Dirk up into the lead of the race. He had an 8-second advantage. Pit under the virtual safety car. We had a game crash, but while our game was crashing, he was clawing past the crash cars, clawing past those in the worst tyres, and trying to win this Japanese Grand Prix. Max van der Gesten in 3rd now. Is he going to look to try get past Airpec? This could hamper Airpec's championship. Gabriel is hoping that Airpec falls to 3rd, because then the points deficit between the two are being reduced by the little amount that it could. Obviously, Gabriel would love to finish in front of the Williamses. Look at Max van der Gest just battling his AlphaTauri through the final couple of corners. We're on the final lap of this Japanese Grand Prix. Dirk has it won, bearing in mind that there is no incidents on this last lap, but the state of this racing facility here at Suzuka could well mean that McLaren is going to go onto the grass, but he's driven a phenomenal race and you'd like to think that that's not going to happen on board with the AlphaTauri. Still, let's see what he can do in this first sector. Is he close enough to claw behind the Williams Racing machine? Tucked up behind us, there's a battle here in the background as well. The Finishman Keke looking to claw back into this race. He was down and out of this at one point. He's back up into it now, and an excellent job from the Finishman trying for 5th position. It's not going to be the race win this week, that's for sure, because Dirk is gone at the front. 2 seconds is the advantage, but the Mercedes heading through the Dunlop curve, he is performing phenomenally. 1.9 seconds to gap up the front now. Dirk is controlling this one from the front. It's the first time really he's ever led a PSGL F2 race here, but Dirk is doing this phenomenally. He was P13 and F3 last season, of course. That's where I was spending my time commentating. Saw Dirk come up through the order. He never had a race win in F3. He could go one better in the top tier. But look at this, Keke still looking to attack. Dirk just heading towards 130 or now. He's looking to bring this one home. Look at the finish with a Keke trying it around the outside, heading through Spoon Curve, and he gets the job done. Dirk just heading through 130 or now. He's almost brought it home. 3 seconds is the gap now as he breaks for the Casio Triangle, whose league racers can't race seemingly. What we've seen this evening is nothing short of spectacular from all on the grid, and especially from Dirk, who is a PSGL race winner and wins the Japanese Grand Prix. He is going to enjoy that one. The McLarenman will finally taste some race-winning champagne. 21st in the championship, takes the victory. Gabriel comes home 10 seconds adrift. Not ideal for Gabriel, but still an excellent job nevertheless.
Was an absolutely incredible race. You'd normally think Japan, rain, boring, but Dirk and everyone else has made it really the opposite of that. Dirk, though, cooking on the strategy. I think he would have won either way. Even if Dirk stayed out, I think he would have had the winning strategy. Pitting under the safety car, like I said earlier on in this race, at the end of the day, was the ideal strategy. And then again, bidding on the virtual safety car seemed to be the ideal way to go. So it's been a very interesting one with a lot of pit stops, a lot of crashes. But at the end of the day, we do finally got a McLaren in the rain on top. And no, it's not Landon Norris. It is OP Dirk. I mean, some people are gonna not be liking me so much afterwards. Driver of the day, the game says it is Keke. But we have to be honest here. I think it's Dirk.
Yeah, Surely it is Dirk. It's more likely than not got to be. But here is your podium. Hopefully it loads. With the amount of issues we've had this evening, it might not. But hopefully, Dirk, we do get to see him on top of a podium. He is going to be absolutely delighted. I'm not sure we're going to get anyone in for a post-race interview, but we will wait and see. Oh, there we go. We do get the McLaren standing on top here in Suzuka. 2 Japanese drivers have scored podiums here in Suzuka: Aguri Suzuki and Kamui Kobayashi. But it's going to be a Dutch race winner here in PSGL F2 once again. It's a different one, though. It's a maiden one. It's OP Dirk who takes the victory. It's Airpex still gets on the podium with Max in third, so that's still a great result for Airpex Championship. He extends his chances at the top of the order. Oh, look, even Otmair's made it onto the podium somehow. But here is your full race results then in Suzuka. It is Dirk who takes the race win with Airpex in second, Max in third, followed by Gabriel in fourth, Nicolope in fifth, with Keke in sixth, Fede in seventh, Baki in eighth, Diogo Silva in ninth, Johan in 10th, with Dark in 11th, Newton 12th, with Tales in 13th. And then, of course, non-finishers, it was Lewis, Covers and Skyline. But what an interesting race this evening then, ladies and gentlemen, as we head off from Suzuka out of the rain. But Timon, what was your thoughts on that one?
I've got many thoughts on this one. First of all, my first thoughts is I want to get these guys in for interviews. Unfortunately, Airpex is not available. I'll turn on my mic again. It's now dark. I mean, this race has taken so long that it's fully it's made a difference. And I thought for a moment you were gone, but that was because you left the PlayStation party.
Yeah, you were coming through twice, and one time is enough for me, to be honest.
Dirk is available for interviews, so if he joins the waiting room.
If he joins the waiting room, we can bring him in for a post-race interview. I will just send the link to him now. We can try and get him in.
But my thoughts, it's been an incredible race.
Many overtakes and many drivers just sending it in the right places at the right times. Unfortunately, it's gone wrong like only once, I think, with wing damage. Maybe twice actually, but once there was no damage involved. But it really showed that there was an opportunity to overtake on this race. And that's the beauty, I think, of this game. In the wet weather conditions, on the previous games, there was no opportunity to overtake. This game, you can overtake. It's possible. There are possibilities. And I see that we have a certain outplayed racing member who has joined the waiting room. And let me just drag him in here. Hello, Dirk. He's gone. Okay.
Thank you, Dirk, for the interview. No, we'll bring him in again. Hello, Dirk. Can you hear us?
Yes, no.
Well, congratulations. You are a PSGL F2 winner. How does that one feel?
Surprising, first of all, because I think this is the GP I've practiced not really a lot for, because I was focusing on WR Legacy Division tomorrow. So started yesterday with some short qualies, today a few, nothing crazy, and suddenly the strategy played a big part and I came out on top.
When you came out of the pit lane from your last pit stop and you were down the order a little bit, did you still think you could win this race? Or what was going through your mind? Because my fellow co-commentator Simon said Dirk can still win this race, but did you believe it when you were sat in the car?
Yeah, when I boxed under the first safety car, I saw a massive pace difference on the new full wet tires. So I knew that if I boxed, I would have quite easily even won this, because the pace difference was massive. I just had some problems with the fuel. I underfueled for more than one lap. I expected it to go down a lot, but it stayed nearly the same, so I needed to save a lot of fuel after that pit stop.
Timon, have you any questions for the man you predicted to win?
At the end of the day, of course, you have questions. At which point did you realize that, because you made 2 pit stops, which were out of sync compared to everyone else, did you think you were going to win if you stayed out under the virtual safety? Because I think you should have been able to actually win that still, because with the gap that you had, it was definitely suitable enough and big enough, I think, for you to be able to keep up. Was that part of your plan? Were you going to run this race to the end, or were you desperately waiting for a virtual safety or something else to come out?
I was waiting. I would go to the end without a virtual safety car or safety car, but I knew that as soon as it would came out, I would go into the pits. But I don't think that without a VSC I would have won. I would have won it because I needed to save so much fuel. I had 0.7 laps too low on fuel, so I would have not won that, I think.
That's crazy. I mean, incredibly lucky in that way that you're able to make sure that that all happened and it went well. But that the other, if you look at another perspective, you absolutely dominated this race and you knew what you did, you were doing, and you nailed what you needed to be done. So I think it's a very deserved race win for you. And Evan said that you did not win in F3, and then getting that upgrade, winning in F2, very well deserved. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dirk, for joining us. But a really interesting evening here in PSGL F2. I think we checked every box for stuff that could happen in a... How long are we live? In a 2-hour stream. But Tymon, thank you once again for joining me for this evening's action. And I hope to see you again soon. But what's your final thoughts on that one? And what can we look forward to next week in Imola?
We could have rain again. It happened IRL, the all race got cancelled. Let's hope it doesn't get cancelled this time. But we can hope for rain, because we certainly know it's entertaining. And I've been here 2 races and we've had a very entertaining dry race, a very entertaining full wet race. I say next week we do intermediates.
Yeah, hopefully less stream crashes, but intermediates would be nice. But no, once again, Tymon, thank you very much for joining us. Next week, of course, we head to Imola on Monday at 7 o'clock. You're going to be redirected to PSGL F1, where you can tune in with James Head and Jessica Ball. From myself, Evan, and from Tymon, thank you very much for joining us. Thank you for bearing with us with all the issues this evening. But stay safe, stay well. We shall see you next time, and bye-bye.
He's got the inside, all here is through, on the left-hand side, hooks the apex, gets on the power nicely, and that is job done. Jarno Opmeer now, to the last couple of corners now, his finest drive, his greatest drive, and he's done it at the Circuit of the Americas. He returns to the top step of the podium. Once again, the ghost is back. Jarno Opmeer wins the US Grand Prix in a stunning Grand Prix.
Cocaine in my nose, there got rose